maybe that's easier, starting in side lying. And the head movements and the chest movements, a twist, a side bending, extension and flexion, until this rolling over becomes very, very simple, very easy, very light, a light thing to do. So that you can lift your right knee off the floor when you're on your front side. Hello, welcome back to today's movement sequence. Today's class will have 3 movements: rotation, side bending, flexion and extension. Also, I will cue you through perception hints, perception cues, and what to feel, how to feel you need to figure out yourself, but what to look out for. And at the same time, we will think about the movements and we will feel comfortable or uncomfortable, and what other feelings are there in the human spectrum of feelings. So that's the plan for today. I invite you to join me to play along, and we will start in lying on the back. So please come to rest on your back and we will take it from there. So please come to rest on your back. And have your left leg long, extended, and stand your right foot. So your right foot is standing and your right knee is pointing towards the ceiling. So where did your right foot go? Which direction do your toes point? Did you put your foot in a place where it can stand on its own, where you don't need much tension or effort to hold your leg, so the leg is just standing there? So that's our starting position, and the first movement is to press with your right foot, your right heel, somewhere against the floor. So you press your right foot against the floor, and the stronger you lean with your right foot, the stronger you press your right foot against the floor. At some point your pelvis will start to roll to the left. So if you have done Feldenkrais lessons before, you know this movement and feel the details. The sole of your right foot is rather large. If you think of it, the 5 toes, and the heel has a left side, a right side, a back side. So where is it you press against your heel, and then maybe close your eyes and feel inside the leaning, the pressure of your right foot against the floor. How does it feel? What's the sensation of pressing more? The feedback when you press stronger, when you feel your heel flatten a bit more, when there's more weight on your right foot. And then there's a movement in your right hip joint, the ball of your right hip joint. So the pelvis, the acetabulum, the thing where the leg meets the pelvis. There's a rotation. And maybe you can feel your sacrum, the bone in the middle of your pelvis in the back. The sacrum has a middle part, a ridge, a crest in the middle, like a mountain, and a wing to the right and to the left. And when you press with your right foot against the floor, maybe you can feel that mountain range range, that ridge crest on your sacrum, and how you roll to the left, into the flat, or onto your left buttock more, and your right buttock is lifting. So can you feel that detail? And maybe your left leg is rolling a little bit. So the small toe of your left foot is coming closer to the floor when you press more with your right foot against the floor. And maybe the rotation of the pelvis, it's not just the pelvis, but it's propagated upwards. Maybe you can feel that in your chest. You can use your hands to be able to feel the rotation. So you're rolling more and more to the left side of your ribs, but constrained. Don't lift your right shoulder. So your right shoulder should stay on the floor. Can you feel that your right scapula, shoulder blade, your right shoulder that touches the floor somewhere? Where is the point of contact? And while you press down with your right foot and your pelvis is rolling, your chest, the uppermost part, your shoulder girdle, stays square on the floor, but not press it down. Not because you press it down, but it just doesn't move. It just rests there. And if that's difficult to find, maybe you can bring your arms out to the sides. So your arms are lying heavy on the floor to each side while you press with your right foot against the floor. And then maybe you roll your head to the right. So we don't have a rolling onto the left side, but we have a twist. Your spine is twisting. Your pelvis is rolling to the left and your head is rolling to the right. And use your arms in any way you like, provided that the top of your shoulders stay on the floor. Yes, so lots of things to move and lots of things to feel, and overall you should feel comfortable. Do you have a feeling of satisfaction or of impatience or patience? What other feelings are there in life? So are you a good student or are you a fast student? Did you already do this with your left leg? Let's take a break. Extend your right leg downwards. Take a short rest. Feel how it is to rest now. Does your left side feel different to your right one? Left leg different to your right one? Where can you feel the movement we just did? And then stand your left foot. See where it went to, your left foot, how far away from the pelvis. And bit by bit, slowly, step by step, brick by brick, start to press with your left foot, your left heel against the floor until the pressure needs to go somewhere. So what yields? Ideally, the pelvis yields. Does the pelvis yield on this side as easily as on the other? So use your left leg to roll your pelvis to the right. And does your pelvis roll easier to the right than it did to the left? Or same, or didn't you pay attention? We will have another chance. But now focus. Left foot, left knee stays towards the ceiling. There's a rotation in your left hip joint. If you do it very small, you can feel the sacrum roll to the right, or maybe it's backwards, a posterior pelvic tilt maybe. Maybe the push with your left foot reaches up to your right shoulder. Huh? So details, details, details. Where does the push go to? And allow your head to roll to the left so we have a twist, a rotation. And where is the rotation? Is it nicely distributed through your entire chest? Continue and see what you make of this movement and what you can feel, the connections you can make. Beautiful, beautiful little movement. Could do this for an hour, but we need to move along. So elongate your left leg again. Yes, and then see how you're resting now. Flatten to the floor. The floor is in the back, the room is in the front. Okay, and then stand your right foot again. Where do you stand your right foot? And start with the movement one more time. Do the same movement, press with your right foot against the floor to roll your, which will roll your pelvis to the left. See, how does it roll? Where did you put your right foot? So we had rotation, and now we will add side bending to the mix. So with your right hand, get hold of your right ankle. So, or the socks, or somehow try to grasp, to catch your right ankle with your right hand. And maybe you need to bend a little bit to the right to make this possible. So we have a little bit of a side bending to the right. Or maybe you need to pull your right foot a little bit to the right. In any way, the right side will shorten a bit and the left side will lengthen. And then continue with the same movement to press with your right foot against the floor. And to roll your head to the right while your pelvis rolls to the left and your right shoulder stays on the floor. And so we have this nice little twist together with a side bend. But it's not just a movement, we also want to feel the details in your pelvis, on your sacrum, on your left leg, in your ribs, how the ribs differentiate now. Maybe you can feel, now it's more the upper part of your body and then the middle part and then the upper part, or maybe you can feel how many different areas of movement. And you can make this a small movement or a big movement. And you can use your left hand to feel, or just rest your left hand. And then we have so many movements ahead, so extend your leg again. Better to do this movement sequence a couple of times than to spend too much or take a whatever you like, but we need to continue. So stand your left foot and eventually hold your left ankle with your left hand, and maybe you bend to the left, so your right side becomes long and your left side becomes short, shortens up as much as it's possible. Maybe it's just a bit, but as long as you have that in your mind, it's a little bit to the left. It doesn't need to be that much. And see how that is different with the roll of your pelvis to before. Where do you place your left foot? Where's a good place for your left foot to push against the floor? Okay, and then take a short break. See how it is to be with extended legs again. Now stand both feet. Stand your feet, yes, and then have your arms in any place you like. And so both feet are standing, and you can press with your right foot against the floor. Then what will happen when you just press with your right foot? So you can feel the sacrum, the middle of your sacrum, the ridge, how you tilt more onto the wing of your sacrum to the left, the flat part of your sacrum. Or maybe the pelvis rolls backwards. So maybe when you press with your right foot on the floor, eventually you can feel a pressure upwards towards your left shoulder. And if you press with your left foot against the floor, maybe the pelvis rolls to the right a little bit or up. Depends how much you press delicately. And if you press with both, then the pelvis will lift, doesn't it? So the pelvis lifts and you lean against the lumbar spine. There's also processes, a middle part of the lumbar spine, and you can lean more on the left side of the spine or on the right side of the spine, depending on how much you press with each foot, and feel this point of contact with the floor move up the spine. So press more and more with your feet so that the pelvis starts to lift, and you will lean in your lower back and then in the middle back and then on your upper back and on the left part of your spine or on the right part of your spine and down again. Now try this with your hands behind your head, maybe interlace your hands, your fingers, and bring your hand behind your head to support your head and to lift your head. So instead of lifting your pelvis, you're lifting your head and then lift your pelvis. So we have a rounded back, and you can feel it, you have a better sensation of where you press against the floor with your spine. So you can go up and down and in between your shoulder blades, or on the left side, down, all the way down and around and all the way up on the right side. And yes, it's not a workout, but a movement exploration. And we're looking for a feeling of comfort, a feeling of, oh, I like that. Well, finally, no pressure. Oh, there's pressure on the back for sure, but no emotional pressure, just a little bit of moving and lifting the pelvis more and more, or lifting the head more and more. How do those relate? Can you lean on every part of your back? Did you notice? Maybe you have places where you lean more and places that you avoid. So try to find out about that. Can you lean against the part where your lumbar spine meets your chest? Or a little bit higher, up to your neck? Or get to hold with your hands your feet, so with your left hand your left ankle, with your right hand your right ankle, and try the same movement. I mean, it's like 1,000 different movements, isn't it? And you can move both knees a little bit to the left. Then we have either a rolling or a side bending. What is it? Or to the right. One knee more up, one knee more down. All right, so you can take a rest. Think about it, how the movements of the pelvis, so we had a rolling, a side bending, and a flexion and the extension. Did we? Now let's play a little bit more with all this. And for that, come onto your front side, please. So turn around on to your belly. And here on your belly, bend your right knee so that your right foot is facing the ceiling. So now, what can we do? With your right hand, take your right ankle see if you can catch your right foot. So that's an achievement. Achievement unlocked if you have your right ankle. And place your left arm up on the floor, alongside the floor. Or anywhere. Actually, do whatever you like with your left arm. And the mission is to lift off your right knee off the floor. Yes, does this work? Can you lift? Can be easy, can be hard. How to lift your right knee off the floor. And then roll and move in a way so that you can stand your right foot on the floor behind your left leg. So you lift your right foot, move it over your left leg, and stand your right foot on the floor. And back again. So you could press with your right hand instead on the floor. So that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? If you stand your right hand on the floor when you're on your belly to lift your right knee. Yes, so there's a relationship somehow in the body. But then bad parents take away the toy. Why? Don't lean with your right hand on the floor, but hold your right ankle with your right hand. So bad. Oh, so now how do you lift your right knee off the floor? How do you have to organize now in order to be able to turn? And then you're on the back. Yes. It could be a challenge. Let's come to lie on the left side. And you lie on the left side, and with your right hand take your right ankle. So that's our starting position. And then move your right knee, or in this regard your right foot, back and forth. So it's a small, start with a small movement, and see you can lift your head, and actually it's all about the head movements. So when you bring your right foot backwards, back to stand your right foot behind you, what do you do with your head as a counterbalance measure? So maybe you bring your head forwards, and when you go in the other direction to bring your right knee closer towards the floor and to roll onto your belly, onto your front side, you take your head backwards. So here we have extension and flexion. So you start on your left side, and then you begin the movements with your right leg to either come to roll onto your front side, or to lift your right foot to come onto your back side. Yes? So maybe that's easier if we do it in starting in side lying. And the head movements and the chest movements, a twist, a side bending, extension and flexion, until this rolling over becomes very, very simple, very easy, very light, a light thing to do. So that you can lift your right knee off the floor when you're on your front side. And you can lift your right foot off the floor when you're on your back. And become more calm, more quiet, less agitated. Check in. That's something Timothy Leary said, to check in, to come to your senses. Slowly, bit by bit, roll, roll, roll. If these psychologists had been embodied, right? If they would have done these kind of movements. So roll, 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 roll. How much of a flexion, extension? Yes. And roll back. The details without ever losing control. What a concept. To stay in control of your movements. So instead of feeling, to be in control of what's happening. That you can reverse the direction. So that's not a universal concept in my thinking, the reversal of a movement, but in this kind of rolling, you could roll forwards and stop and roll backwards and stop. So in this particular situation, the reversal of being able to reverse a motion could be an indicator of being in control, an indicator of movement quality in this particular situation. So not to disturb the breathing. And then let's take a break on the back. Stand both feet. And see if you can roll your pelvis, if you have control of your pelvis, to roll your pelvis right and left, forwards and backwards. Or lift your pelvis and lower your pelvis. What is your sensation now, your impression of the pelvis and the pelvis's connection to the chest? How the push of your feet against the floor arrives in your chest. So let's do the same thing with the left side. Extend your right leg, hold your left ankle with your left hand. Yes, it's our starting position. And then start to press with your left foot against the floor. This twist and side bending, and more of it, and more of it, until you're on your right side, until you're on your front side, until you can come back the same way. In slow motion. So now easy movement, isn't it? Could be. Remember, your upper chest needs to extend, your head needs to move, your head needs to move quite a bit through space in order to be able to roll onto your front side while holding your left foot. Or able to roll back onto your back. How much of that do we need? And then if you haven't yet, come to lie on your back, take a short break, see how you rest. So we have done a lot, there was a lot in this lesson, and we can focus on many parts of the lesson, split this lesson up in many smaller lessons, which are equally long and strong. Maybe let's do a final movement. Stand both feet. With your left hand, get hold of your left foot. With your right hand, get hold of your right foot. Maybe that's more available already. And choose a side, left or right. And what do you need to do to roll onto your front side? While holding your feet. Staying in control, rolling bit by bit. And the same way back. Yes? You get the idea? So now I do the same like they do in all other videos. You get the idea, and thank you so much for your support, for making these videos possible. Your sponsoring of your help you provide me through Patreon, like, is really a gift to the world, because we can share these videos with everyone. Everyone can benefit and learn and become more aware, more embodied, more conscious, improve their thinking, feeling, sensations and movement. So you can roll around on the floor, you can expand on that. How do you roll to the right, to the left, from the back to the front, with the least effort to make it easy? Flexion, extension. Thank you so much for watching. And in the end, we need to get up when you're done. When you're done with all this, I leave it up to you, and see you in the next video.